No, we don't, we have to have your permission.
They're always
Because those are confidential.
always a couple, and there's usually
We have a committee that does that reviews all
they do.
This survey's already been done. We just need to, we wanted to submit the results.
Well, that's a no.
Okay.
If you win, it's because you did.
Good evening, everyone. Apologize for the little tardy start, but we'll begin with our roll call. Vicki, please.
Cohen Barnes. Nina Fontana.
Here.
Vicki Hernan Favor.
Here.
Mary Hess.
Here.
Tom Mattia.
Here.
Victoria Newport.
Here.
Tracy Williams.
Here.
Okay, if everyone could stand and please join me in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Okay, first we have acceptance of gifts and donations. It's been recommended that the Board of Education accept with gratitude the donation of $1,000 from National Bank and Trust and $2,000 from Castle Bank to support the Arts Midwest Road Fest. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We thank our two local banks for their generous donations. Public comment. Members of the public who wish to speak to the board should complete a request card prior to the meeting. This section of the meeting should be reserved for comments from the public. All comments will be limited to 3 minutes. Criticism of individuals is not in order. There is one exception to that. For people that spoke last time on the middle school schedule, we're just going to limit that to 1 minute. For new topics, you will have 3 minutes. So, we'll start with Carol Lee Duffin. Carol? Yep, you're fine.
Okay. I'm Carol Lee Duffin. I'm the president of DeKalb Music Boosters. And I'm the mother of 4 children, one who just graduated from DeKalb High School down to one who will start kindergarten in 2 years. So I'm still very interested in how the scheduling goes. I've got a lot of kids still to get through. I wanted, first of all, to express my appreciation for the efforts that have been made in trying to maintain the ensembles at the middle school level. I think those are very valuable for all the reasons that everybody said last week, and I appreciate the work that's been done to maintain that. I just want to say I do think it's a little disingenuous to say, as I have read in the paper this morning and heard in other meetings, that the only thing we are losing is general music. While that is true on a whole school level, on a district level, each individual child, if this new schedule passes, is going to lose more than general music. Someone who takes band is also going to lose computers and art. Someone who chooses art and computers is going to lose other musical opportunities. I believe the arts are very important. We're cutting people off at middle school if we pass this new schedule as far as their opportunities and the things that they're willing to try. And those opportunities are not likely to become more available as they get to high school, as the schedule is very tight there already. So I'd just like you to keep in mind, as I'm sure you will, the opportunities that we're offering to students who have strengths in differing areas. Thank you.
Thank you, Carol. Becky Maskell, Technology.
I am here tonight to ask you to really consider whether District 428 can afford the purchase of one-to-one technology, as well as afford the supports that will be needed to make it successful. While I agree that there may be some benefits to providing this technology to our students, I am concerned that we do not have the funds to properly carry it out. As you know, the district has been told that for these devices to be effective, a minimum of 40 hours of professional development is needed for each teacher. It will then be important to provide ongoing professional development. There will also be substantial costs in terms of upkeep and updating the technology. As a result of the recent building grant, we currently have enough money to purchase these devices. However, I would ask if we really have the money to sustain them, or whether it will be they will be found tucked away in closets or on shelves after a couple years because they are broken, out of date, or not used because of lack of professional development. As a result of the district not fully considering and planning for the long-term cost. Please bear with me as I share an analogy as I feel gives perspective as to whether the district has the resources to spend $10 million for one-to-one technology. Let's say I've really been dreaming about taking a vacation to Disney World, but I haven't had the money. Then one day I open my mail and I find a check that I can spend on anything I want. Knowing that going to Disney is at the top of my bucket list, it's the first thing that I consider and look into purchasing an airline ticket. I find that I have enough money to purchase a ticket to get to Disney, and therefore this seems like a good idea. I know that once I'm at Disney, I will need to purchase food, lodging, a ticket into the park, and an airline ticket to get back home. Although I don't have those funds set aside, I'm so excited that I go ahead and purchase the ticket to go to Disney, thinking I will work out the other details once I get there. When I arrive at Disney, I go to a restaurant and explain that going to Disney was on my bucket list of things to do, so here I am. However, I will need the restaurant to provide the food I need while I'm there because I don't have the funds to eat. I don't anticipate that the restaurant will agree with me. I then go to check into the hotel and explain the same thing to them. While they share that they would like to provide free lodging for me, they aren't able to do so. And of course, when I get to the park and ask to enter at no cost, I am met with the same response. My biggest hurdle may be in finding the funds to purchase an airline ticket home, and ultimately, the vacation will not have provided the benefits I first imagined. I believe that although it would be nice to have one-to-one technology, and we do have the money from the grant to make the initial purchase, based on meetings I've attended, I would contend that we do not have the money to make it effective or sustain it. As a taxpayer and teacher, I believe the board should be focusing on reducing class size and providing programs that help students be successful. If this technology is really a priority, the board should set aside a special account to purchase the technology when there are funds for the initial purchase, as well as the training, repairs, and upgrades that will be necessary to make it effective. At a time when we have class sizes at an all-time high and we're cutting programs for kids, we should not be considering spending millions of dollars on one-to-one technology.
Thank you, Jenny.
Thank you.
1 minute.
As those of you who were here at the last board meeting can attest, there are many of us who believe that the middle school schedule, which will be brought to you tonight for a vote, is flawed and in many ways not in the best interest of the middle school students of our district. While this schedule does address more math minutes and a money-saving cut in staff, I do not believe that enough time has been spent considering what the problems with this schedule will be and how to address them. Some of the immediately obvious problems include the fact that with many middle school classes already bulging with 35 students and enrollment increasing this year over last, how does the district adequately serve students by cutting staff? I do believe that in the year we have before this schedule will be implemented, a lot of hard work must be done in making sure that the proposed schedule can, in the actual application, effectively meet the needs of students and staff. Often what looks good on paper does not work as was expected when it is put into use. It is my sincere hope that the middle school administrators will immediately begin to work with this schedule.
Jenny, we're over a minute.
Okay, which has never actually been used in this district to find and work on problems that may exist. I also hope that the input, you won't let me go.
We've let you go. Okay, thank you. Okay, that concludes our reports from the public. Board committee reports, correspondence. I did want to hand out, we talked about this earlier, these are the committees that we have for the upcoming year and board member assignments to those. And also, on the bottom of the sheet, we have adopt the school assignments. So all board members have a couple of schools, and I would look forward to reports at each meeting, or at least once a month, on items and activities that are going on at those schools. So, any questions, comments? Any bartering, trading is allowed. You can work that out amongst yourself. Okay, non-business consent agenda. It's been recommended that the Board of Education approve the non-business consent agenda items A through E. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Nina Fontana,
Yes.
Vicky Hernan Favor,
Yes.
Mary Hess,
Yes.
Tom Mattia,
Yes.
Victoria Newport,
Yes.
Tracy Williams.
Yes.
I would like to point out on an agenda item E in the non-business consent agenda, it was approval of an intergovernmental agreement for the City of DeKalb and the water tower logo. I'm pleased to report that with donations from the City of DeKalb, from the Bar Boosters, and anonymous private donors, we were able to raise the funds for this, and no tax dollars will be used for this particular purpose, this nice addition to DeKalb High School. Business and finance. Andrea, you presented the budget to us last time. Do you
Yes.
want to, any additional revisions?
We do. We have a few changes.
Okay.
So as soon as Cindy gets that set up.
So tonight, this is our hearing for a tentative approval of the 2013-14 budget for public display. So it'll be out in public.
Excuse my reach.
Okay. So I'm not going to read all of this to you. In June, we had given you an update as far as where we stand, and there's a few things that have changed. But overall, again, we all understand that the budget is a fluid document, and there's a lot of assumptions built into this, but there are some absolutes at this time of which we will review. And we do record everything on modified accrual, excuse me, which means we just shore up all our revenues and expenditures at the end of the year, so we truly do have a clear picture as to what that fiscal year was we closed looks like. And then moving forward, we start this budget process in February, and now we are down to the July and August. So legally, we have to go through the tentative budget process. It goes on display for 30 days, and then in September, we'll have the public hearing, and you'll actually formally adopt the budget. And so here's where some of the changes are. So initially on June 4th, we had a $2.8 million deficit. Now there have been some changes with general state aid. Instead of prorating it at 83%, they've increased that to 89%. So we're able to add another $692,000 of revenue. And then we have some tax, we have our tax levy, so we have those absolute numbers to add an additional $23,000, and that shores up that. Then there are some fees that are enacted by the Affordable Care Act with our health insurance, and that's where you'll see the minus $115,000. With special education, and these are the students that typically are sent outside of our district, we have gone over budget the past few years on this, and we still need to increase that line item, so we're addressing that with $500,000. The other ones are just a few additional things that we have to take care of with differentials and some consulting. So right now we stand at a $2.7 million deficit. So that's the best that we know of today. Again, there's still pending legislation, and everybody knows a lot of discussion has been happening on pension reform. We don't yet know where that is going to land, and if anything will be pushed out to school districts, and we're hoping if something does happen, they're going to wait until the 15 fiscal year, as we're already entering into our new fiscal year. But as a reminder, for any 1% that would come our way, that's an additional $320,000 worth of expenses to us. And then again, this is just the standard format of how we have to report our budget. So you can see by fund with the revenue, and we always list as local, state, federal, and other. And then when you take all these numbers and you put it to a chart, again, this is the way that looks. So really our local sources are our property taxes and corporate personal property tax, which is about 68% of the revenue, and then our state and federal sources make up for the remainder. On the expense side, again, you can see the detail by fund, by object, how it's delineated, and then when you put that to a chart, how our expenses are broken down as well. So where you see the includes tuition, the other, that's the area in which we have to increase for the new fiscal year because of the cost of that area. The rest of the items are pretty much self-explanatory. Now, as we move on to this, the one thing we just take a look at, we look at our budget as it's presented without the construction grant money and then with the construction grant money, just not to blur the lines of actually where we stand. So when we look at when the construction money is included in our fund balance, for operating fund balances, we end with $21,284,597. So let me just point something out here, because we've been talking a lot about in FFAC and at the last few board meetings when we talk about fund balance. Our fund balance policy in our district is to maintain a 15% to a 25% fund balance. Okay, that is our policy. Even with this $21 million, we're just hovering at 30%. So I think when people looked at the numbers or felt it, they think it's much more grander than where we are. But really, when you include that $21 million fund balance only represents 30% of our expense to fund balance. So it's again not as grand as we think. When we take a look at it without our fund balance, and again we know that when we look at the construction grant dollars, what we wanted to remind people of is that we have obligated some of this money. So of that $21 million, we have $527,000 set aside. That's from the last meeting of the parity for our classrooms to put the smart boards and speakers and projectors and whatever that looks like at our remaining classrooms. And then we have $812,000 in capital projects. That money has been obligated for Little John and Malta for secured entryways. So out of that money, we have already spent $1,340,000. So then when you take a look at where our fund balances lie without that construction grant money, and we see we have a $2.7 million deficit. Moving forward, that ending fund balance then projected at $5,655,000. That's only at 7.8% of our expense to fund balance. So without that money, we have fallen way below what those standards are in our policy. And again, since we've received the money, we always look at it both ways, so we all understand where we are with and without that money. And then the funds that are listed below the operating funds, your debt service, capital, and life safety, well, those are not too big of a concern at sometimes when there are deficits, because it's just the timing of projects, when that revenue comes in to when we spend that money out. So our focus is really on that top half with the operating funds. Again, looking forward and looking at some historical perspective of where our finances lie. On top, if you enjoy looking at the numbers, it's all charted for you there. And below, when you look at the graph, I think the main thing in this one that as a finance person, what is incredible through a horrible recession that we have lived through and looking forward is that red line across the bottom represents how we have been able to maintain our fund balance through all of that, and is a significant part of the reason of why we are where we are, and we haven't made deep cuts. I mean, everybody can feel some of the changes that we've made, but truly in the economy that we have lived through and are looking to forward, this has been incredible that we've been able to maintain where we are. Each of those bars represents the revenues versus expenditures, and every year when you would see those expenses exceeding the revenues, to be able to maintain something is of utmost importance. And when you look back and up to current, we've done a great job at doing that. Again, it doesn't go out without feeling the pinch and the hurt of that, as we've all been talking about some reductions that have been made. But unfortunately, it's a necessity to be able to maintain the operation that we have. Now moving forward, we have what includes the construction grant money. So when you take a look at 2011, where you see the red line go up, and you see that little bleep, that is when we actually received that money. And then again have been able to maintain. Yes, we are losing some fund balance moving forward, but still staying above a line has been a great chore. But again, I think everybody should take a look at how well we have outlived all of this and moving forward, and have done a great job with all of this. And the last slide is just a reminder of the progress monitoring that goes on. I know we all wait and look at this budget, but there is so much more behind it. And we think this is a great opportunity right now to introduce another part of a comprehensive budget book and a look at things. We have the CAFR that you're all aware of, which is a comprehensive annual financial report, which is of great importance. It gives you a great history of financially where the district has been. It gives you the story about the district, and that actually has helped us in obtaining a better credit rating. So as we move forward, we continue to review all efficiencies, and whatever we can do to help give that additional financial support to our district, we certainly are open to looking at that and going after those initiatives. We'll be examining our professional service contracts within the next month or two. We will be bringing back to the board a lot of contracts that we pay for supplies and professional services. We go out to bid periodically. Some are designed that way purposefully, and by law we have to do that. But there are some other services that we've had, and it's about time we look at that and perhaps get some refreshed pricing. And then we are going to start introducing to you some cash flow analysis and a quarterly treasurer's report. So that will start this year as well, because as the state delays payments and starts these prorations, it will become obvious to you the importance of maintaining those fund balances with all those delays that happen, of why we don't have to borrow money, as a lot of districts do, when those stresses come of any delay of payments from the state. I mean, we have fortunately not had to go out and incur additional interest costs in doing that for our district, and hope to continue to be able to maintain that. We want to strive to maintain the bond rating, and we had an improved bond rating up to a AA. And again, without getting too finance detailed with you, the difference in these credit ratings is anytime a school district goes out to borrow money, if you're not AA rated, anything lower, that spread on the interest rate cost that they're going to charge your school district is going to be significant. And because of the financial state of Illinois, we already have one black mark against us, so to speak, just because we reside in the state of Illinois. So maintaining that bond rating, just as if you personally want to maintain a good credit rating is of utmost importance anytime you're going to borrow money. And then we're going to revisit the fund balance policy, and I think you'll see why once we start addressing cash flow as to why the importance of maintaining those balances will be obvious to everyone. So just wanted to make certain that kind of pulls all the finance pieces together on what our plan is moving forward. So unless there's any questions, that's,
Board members, questions? Thank you, Andrea.
thank you.
And Cindy, thank you. I know you do more than just come down. Thanks for being talking. Okay, again, one more time, any questions for them? Sorry. My bad one. Okay, it's been recommended board that action be taken that the Board of Education approve the 2013-14 budget for public display in anticipation of adoption on September 17, 2013. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Vicki Hernan Favor?
Yes.
Mary Hess?
Yes.
Tom Mattia?
Yes.
Victoria Newport?
Yes.
Tracy Williams?
Yes.
Nina Fontana?
No.
Motion passes. Approval of proposed middle school schedule. This has been discussed. Any new developments, Dr. Muller?
No, I have nothing else to add, but Dr. Scott, Mr. Vincent, and I would be happy to answer any further questions that you may have.
Okay, we'll go ahead and see if there's a motion in a second and then open it up for discussion. It's been recommended that the Board of Education approve the middle school team time and travel encore schedule with the option presented that maintains band and orchestra ensemble. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Discussion. Any questions for Dr. Muller or our two principals? Seeing none, roll call please.
Mary Hess?
Yes.
Tom Mattia?
Yes.
Victoria Newport?
Yes.
Tracy Williams?
Yes.
Nina Fontana?
No.
Vicki Hernan Favor?
Yes.
Motion passes. Approval of technology equity expenditure proposal. This was presented and there was consensus by the board last time to bring this back. It was referred to in the budget to bring parity to all of our schools and our classrooms. It's been recommended with the action be taken that the Board of Education approve the tax technology equity expenditure proposal from the Finance and Facilities Committee using funds from the construction grant. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Discussion? Roll call, please.
Victoria Newport?
Yes.
Tracy Williams?
Yes.
Nina Fontana?
Yes.
Vicki Hernan Favor?
Yes.
Mary Hess?
Yes.
Tom Mattia?
Yes. Motion passes. That covers our topics this evening. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Thank you all.
That's a record.
It's a Tom Mattia record. Not a Tracy Williams record. Okay, Chris, this is our new reporter from the Chronicle. Chris, by the way, this will be it won't be all this short, trust me. Yeah. You lost your partner in crime? Who's that? Mr. Thomas? Yeah. Got an email last week?